Good morning. It's
Good
Coffee Talk. It's
morning.
January 9th. Hi, everybody. We have Jennifer on here today, so super exciting. Before we get started, though, I just want to remind everybody to find their mute button and click mute if you're not being interviewed. If you're being interviewed, you don't need to mute yourself. And just things going on this week, an update. We have Fit Party right after this at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So, woo! Love Fit Party. If you haven't been on one, get on one. Even if you're listening to this replay, the ones after that, the upcoming ones will be January 18th, I think is a Monday, and that's at 7 p.m. Eastern. This is all Eastern. And then the one after that is the following Saturday, which I think is the 23rd, and that's at 9 a.m. Eastern. I keep looking up at everybody to see if their heads are nodding, so I'm right. Okay, and then if you can't do those two, get a hold of the person who invited you here or your upline coach and ask them when the next ones are. Okay, cool. So Fit Party, make sure you go. So much fun, lots of fun. It's a great way to introduce people to our team. Okay, so Jennifer.
Hello.
I brought Jennifer on here because she shared her awesome transformation in our Fit Party Central group. And I was like, dang, girl. And then she started bringing people into Fit Party, and then she started bringing people into challenge groups. I was like, who is this girl? And I want to know more about your transformation. So first, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, where do you live? Do you have kids? Do you not have kids?
Yeah. So I live right outside of DC. I live in Alexandria, Virginia. I'm originally from the Allentown area. I came down here for work. I work as a speech therapist, a pediatric speech therapist in the city. I don't have kids. I live with my boyfriend down here. I work at a hospital in the city. And so when COVID hit, everything just kind of exploded at the hospital. I'm an outpatient clinician. Outpatient services completely shut down. Completely. We didn't have telehealth services set up. So everything shut down. And I became an inpatient adult speech language pathologist, which is not what I was trained to do. I know how to work with the little ones doing language therapy, and I had to learn how to go on the floors and do a completely different job. It would almost like going back to school. And I actually thought that moving among the floors was movement and exercise. I was like, well, at least I'm moving. Everybody else is in their houses. Everybody else is, in quarantine. So I'm moving around, and, this is something. This has got to be something. And I mean, it probably was, something. But really, my routine was just come home, chill, go to bed. I was in fight or flight, but yeah, my background is that I'm a speech language pathologist. I have a passion for working with kids. I specialize in working with children with autism, and I love it. I love the challenge. I love to pour my heart out to children and their families. And yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. Are you going back into children, or you already are?
Oh, we are. So we did develop telehealth services. We got that established within about 3 months. And as they no longer needed me on the floors, I was able to go back. And now I have this new skill set in my back pocket. So yeah.
That's good to know. Okay, cool. Yeah. So are you now, you're in telehealth. Are you at home working now?
No, so I do see patients in person as well. I work from home once a week, but I also do 4 days a week in the hospital, and I see 75% telehealth and about 25% in person.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about who got you started?
Alex.
Who's your coach?
Alex.
Awesome.
Yeah.
She's so great.
So Alex and I grew up together.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me when did you start with Alex, and what led you to, want to jump on this journey?
So I started with Alex in June. And what led me to do it, because Alex had reached out to me periodically throughout the years. And I just kind of I saw the messages, and I was just and sometimes it was because I had a gym or I had a routine. 4 years prior, I had a really solid routine. When she'd messaged me a few months prior, I was like, I'm overwhelmed. I have too much going on. Everything's crazy. Um, but gyms had closed down. Gyms weren't opening up again. And I I didn't want to keep putting it off. Like I was talking about it for 3 months. I remember being on the phone with my mom from March to June, periodically saying, I am going to start working out again and going to start working out again. This is important. And I think I even remember saying to her multiple times, there's this girl I went to high school with. She's been reaching out to me. I'm going to reach out to her. I'm going to make this a priority. I never thought I'd work out from home, but I'm just going to do it because I know I feel better when I work out. And finally, like Alex, I don't know if I told you this, but the reason I finally reached out to you is because I didn't have a plan to start working out that weekend. I just wanted to stop putting it off. I just was like, enough is enough. I don't know when I'm going to start. I just need to do it because this is important. And I didn't realize how much my body had deteriorated until I took those pictures. I didn't realize really what had happened. Because really, COVID didn't create it. It exacerbated it. A lot of these things, were exacerbated, not created by this pandemic. This slide had started long before. But I definitely just went into a cocoon when all of this started. When I was at work, I was like, I want to do everything I can to help as many people as I can, full on. And then when I came home, self-care was just not a thing that I did. And also, I want to add another thing. I always perceived self-care as selfish. Because if I'm doing self-care, I'm not thinking about somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. I just never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me something when you thought about self-care originally. See, that's interesting that that's how you think of self-care. When I think of self-care or prior
Right.
to really kind of educating myself,
Right.
but I would think it was people doing things like getting their nails done and getting pampered. And I'm not saying that's not self-care,
Right.
but it would do absolutely nothing for me. Like
Right.
that's not, it
Well,
wouldn't do anything for me. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just saw it as some excuse to
right.
get primed and pampered.
Yeah. Well, so this is important, but I had this kind of distorted perspective of as long as it's not at the expense of somebody else's needs.
Okay.
And it's like, I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but like we almost have this like split brain where like the logical side is like, that's ridiculous. But then like on the other side, you're just like, no, but I have to do for others first, no matter what. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, no matter what, under no circumstances can I, you know,
That's interesting.
yeah,
I'd love to know from everybody else who's listening if
yeah,
they put in the chat what you thought self-care was before you decided to really dive in. And here's the other thing, like I didn't, when I got started, I didn't think, oh, this is self-care. I was just like at my wit's end. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I just got to do what I got to do to get what I want. Do you know what I mean? And then as I started doing it, I realized, wow, I feel amazing. I'm
yeah.
able to give more. I'm able to have more energy. And then it like was, you know what I mean? I didn't get into it thinking, well, you, that it was self-care. I went into it thinking, I need my jeans to fit me. You know what I mean? So it's interesting what we learn along the way. So tell
Yeah.
me, what did you, so by the way, I love your transparency and I love that you're like, well, Alex, because she kept, I love seeing what other people are thinking on the other side, right? She's like, Alex on her side is probably like, am I bothering her? Am I bothering her? And you're like, oh, I really need her. I really need Alex, but it's not like, not right now, not right now, right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and we always talk on the flip side as coaches, we're like, I show people sometimes how I have like on my phone, I'm like, look at all these blue messages, which means like I reached out to them and there's no reply. Like blue message, blue message, blue message, blue message, blue message. And then 2-3 months later, I get a message from them. Like I didn't even reach out to them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah.
And it's funny to hear somebody else on the other side saying, well, they reached out, reach out. And then I was like, I reached out to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens more often than you think it does. So it's really interesting to hear that. But anyway, tell me, okay, I'm going to share your results if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Let me pull up your picture. tell me a little about these two pictures. This is
Oh my
June
gosh.
when you got started, okay?
Yeah.
And this is now. So what's your journey from then till now? How did you get started? What did you start with? Tell me it.
So I started with 10 rounds. I think that was technically the newest program out at the time, which was really good timing for me because I really like boxing. Um,
Mm,
and so when Alex was like, this is a new program, I was like, sold, done. And so the first program I did was 10 rounds, and I immediately just, oh, she's right. I just saw the message. First week, I just saw it pop up. I technically started with 3-week yoga retreat, but I did it for a week. So the reason I did
okay.
that is I was waiting for some equipment to come in, but also I knew I hadn't moved my body for a really long time. My hips were feeling really tight. I was having some circulation issues, and I thought, stretch,
Good move.
just
Good move. I
stretch
like it.
for
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. And so, and also I'll have to explain if you're interested, I'll explain my quarantine weights. My boyfriend was making me some quarantine weights, and so they weren't made yet. So I was stretching
Hold
my
on a
hips.
second. I'm going to stop screen sharing because I want this on full screen because I heard a little bit about this and I'm like, you are flipping kidding me. So go ahead. Now tell your story.
Okay. So I remember we were sitting on the couch watching some Netflix something, and I was on my tablet. He was on his tablet, and we were researching where I could buy free weights, right? Because I needed weights. We didn't have any equipment. And for like an hour and a half, I couldn't find anything except for things that were marked up like 3 times what they were worth, right? And they were going to take 3 months to get delivered. And then I looked to my left, and he's on his tablet all of a sudden looking on YouTube videos for how to make them by hand because he's got like that engineering kind of thinking. I didn't even think to ask him if he could make them because in my mind, you can't make stuff like that. Long
Sure.
story short, he makes me 8-pound weights, 10-pound weights. What are they? 10, 15, 20, 25s out of PVC pipe and cement. And that's what I've been using.
Do you have one nearby?
Yes, hold on.
I want to see it. So my husband has this phrase, by the way, he calls it object fixation, right? And he's really good at not having it. So if he doesn't have the proper thing, he will find something to replace it. I'm horrible at it. I'm like, well, if you have a weight, you got to go to the store and buy a weight. So let's see these. Let's see them. I'm so excited.
Okay, so the thing about the weights too, and if you see me on the 24/7 gym, it probably makes me look like a beast because I don't understand volume. So it's either more dense or less dense. The weights look way bigger than they are. So when I'm doing my 25s, it probably looks like I'm doing 50s or 60-pound weights.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see this. Okay.
So I'm not lifting the 25s because I don't think I can
That's
from this
fine.
angle.
That's fine.
These are the 8s.
Wow, they look amazing. I was so expecting some kind of like big concrete block.
No, so what we use then too is there's this like rubber spray paint sealant. We just double sprayed them again 6 months later because they were starting to smell a little bit, and grip tape. And I'm going to show you the
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to show
They're
you the
amazing.
I'm going to show you the 15s.
So wait, what pound was that you just
That
used?
was the 8-pound. We were trying to
Okay.
make it a 5, but he thought it was going to break, so we just stopped at 8.
Got
And
it.
these are the
Oh
15s.
my gosh, they do look huge.
I know. It makes me look like, that's why I was like, people on the gym are going to be like, what the heck is this person doing?
And you're like, dude, I am superwoman. Hilarious. Kudos to your husband. What's his name?
Justin.
Justin. Awesome job, Justin. Everybody here is giving you a round of applause. I'm so proud of you. Great job. Way to be an awesome hubby or boyfriend. Sorry.
Yeah.
Way to be an awesome boyfriend. That is so cool. So cool. Yes, I'm in love. I love that. That's awesome.
It's the reason that I was able to, lift.
So great. So you
Yeah.
did 1 week of the 3-week
yoga
retreat just to get kind of acclimated.
Yes. And then I did 10 rounds. And then what I would do on my off days, I started to very quickly start to sprinkle in some of 3-week yoga retreat because I really, really liked the stretching.
Awesome.
But I didn't add in really the nutrition. I remember I was really disappointed when I weighed myself at the end of the 6 weeks and I was like, Alex, I barely lost 1.5 pounds. And she was like, take your pictures. And I did take the pictures, and I was really, really, I think that was right when I understood the importance of the photos, because the transformation from, and I saved those photos and I send them to people, because I want them to understand what your body can do when you go from not moving to moving your body, even though nutrition is
Yes.
so important. But my body still changed really significantly, even with barely a 1.5 pound weight loss, when I went from like this atrophy to moving.
This is
Right?
great. Alex, if you have that picture on you right now, do you have that picture?
If you,
If
I
you
mean,
have the lift 4 picture, send it to me. If not, that's fine. Because I'll pull it up on the screen. But yeah, I think it's a huge deal to talk about.
I mean, you'd have to scroll back, Alex, to like July, the photos I would have sent you in July.
And if you're in Messenger, you just have to click like info or something to see all the pictures in Messenger. But if you can't find it, that's totally fine. So tell me, you decided then you were like, listen,
Right,
I got okay results. You can
right,
see the transformation in my body, but I
right.
still wanted to lose more fat,
Yeah.
right? Is that
Oh,
what you were like?
absolutely. I wanted to lose weight. Like, even though like the self-care thing was a realization I had during this process, it wasn't
Yeah,
the reason that I did it.
sure. So tell me
Yeah.
about what did you choose after that then?
So
Oh,
MBF.
hold on. I'm sorry. Go back. Were
Oh,
you drinking Shakeology there during that
yes.
time?
I started Shakeology from the beginning, and it was my breakfast from the beginning.
And how did that help you, even though you weren't like on top of your nutrition? How did that help you through the 6 weeks?
Well, it covered the first meal always. It's always been my first meal. And for me, that is a big change. So it's, when I'm at work, that allows me to, it covered the kind of like the first half of my day at work.
Mm,
So now my issue was lunch and on,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
Um,
So that's still a huge win for your nutrition.
right. And it established part of my routine,
Yeah.
right? So it
Hmm.
was the beginning.
So you had half the battle. I mean, you had your
Yes.
morning, you had
Right.
your workouts. And so what did you decide then from there on out? Ooh, sorry.
Well, so I avoided the nutrition because it felt like too much work. It felt overwhelming. Meal planning, the idea of meal planning seemed like the most wonderful thing that I would never have time to do.
I think so many people can relate to that.
So I was like, and Alex was like, hop on a meal planning call. And I was like, all right, well, if somebody's going to do it with me, that's almost like they're doing it for me. So I can do that. That was my thinking. I don't think I told Alex that either, but that was my thinking. So I was like, I can do that. And so that's what I did. And I was like, then I can see what it's like, and then I can do it. And that's what got me started. And she helped me select, which meal program I was going to do. I chose 2B Mindset. And that's what I've been using.
And who did you hop on a call with Alex or did you get
Yeah,
on
with
with Kaylee?
Alex. So
Oh,
she did
okay.
want to help us like do like a weekly, just a few of her challengers. We all hopped on
Oh,
together,
awesome.
and she
Great
showed
job,
us how
Alex.
she does her weekly meal plans. And I actually have recently started to emulate what Alex does with one of my challengers. So I'm learning from her.
Cool. Very awesome. I love it. So okay. Hold on, I'm just double checking there. Okay. So tell me, from then on out, which plan did you choose to do?
2B Mindset.
Okay. And that was probably in like August, July,
Yeah,
August?
yeah, like way end of July. It was really like
Oh, okay.
right. I like as soon as muscle burns fat was starting. I think there was a week between where yeah, because my bod ropes hadn't come in yet. And I get this like mental thing where I'm like, I have to have my equipment. So I had like a week where I redid some of my favorite workouts from 10 rounds. And I did the meal planning and all of that. And I started MBF at the same time that I did my first week of having my meal planning all set up.
Awesome. And since then, you've dropped, I
Well,
would say,
now
significant weight,
yeah,
you know?
it's a little bit more, almost 25 pounds I weighed in yesterday.
That's
Um,
amazing. So from basically end of August to now, so
mm,
that's 6 months, less than six
yeah,
months, right?
yeah.
And you've got 25. And so I would say out of these pictures, that's probably a bulk of that weight loss
Yes.
is
Oh,
from
this is
2B
this
mindset,
is the
right?
oh, oh yeah. Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. That
That's
like
awesome.
except for like a pound.
So did you keep these shorts? Are you still going to
Yeah, I
wear
still
them?
have them. That's like the other outfits I've like rotated out now because I can't wear the bras anymore. But this outfit I'm gonna keep for as long as I can so I can keep
Awesome.
the photos.
Yeah, keep it so you can keep putting it on and taking pictures. I love
Yeah.
it. So great. So tell me, how has to be mindset helped you?
It's helped me learn how to manage my own nutrition, because I've gotten to this point with my body once before, about 4 or 5 years ago. It was with doing there are these like meal plans where they like mail these like meals to you,
Hmm.
like to the gym that I was going to, weekly
Oh, okay.
meals.
Hmm.
And they're really good and they're great. But and I actually really like them. And the only thing that I had with that is I was relying on them and I didn't learn how to cook for myself. And
Yeah.
what To Be Mindset has taught me is more than teaching me how to cook for myself, it's taught me confidence, because I did not have confidence in myself that I could do this. And I didn't believe in myself. So like, really, that's why I'm saying like this whole self-care confidence thing, this is really what I've pulled from this. This is what's really driven me to start going into the coaching, honestly, because it's not that I lost the weight and I'm like, oh, I want you to lose the weight. It's the confidence. It's the belief in myself that I can do this, that like I was able to break down these barriers and believe that I can overcome these things, and that it's not impossible. It takes commitment. It's not a quick pill. It's not something that it's like, I did this and look at me and I'm perfect. No, life is hard. Life is messy. Life is everything that it is for you right now, but you can still do this.
So beautiful. I don't even have to say anything after that. Lynn's giving you applause. I have Alex is over here. She said, "What? You're the most confident person I know." I gotta just say something about that. Because confidence is a very inward thing. Like you
Yeah.
can't tell someone's confidence by their outward expression. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
might seem confident, but that's like that doesn't mean they're feeling confident. So
I'm
you
passionate.
know, mm-hmm.
And I know that about myself. I'm passionate. Like the thing I like about being in my 30s is I feel like I have a good idea of who, like where I am, like who I am. And I know my
Mm-hmm.
passion, and I'm not afraid to say that. I'm passionate. And I'm building, and I'm confident in certain areas. Like as a speech therapist, I'm confident. I'm really confident. I'm confident in what I know, and I'm confident in what I do not know. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and I'm building confidence in myself through this process.
Yeah. This is
Um,
awesome. It's amazing. I'm so glad you're part of our team. It's so great.
thanks.
Um, especially I know a couple speech therapists and
Yeah.
you're literally talking to people all day long and teaching people how to talk. So
Right.
you're confident in speaking,
Yeah.
which makes it, you know what I mean? You're going to seem very confident in front of people, especially because people are nervous to talk. They're
Right.
just nervous to talk. And so I think I could be wrong. Being a speech therapist, it
Right.
actually gives you even more outward confidence to
Oh
people.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. By the way, they're some of the coolest people I know. Like I know two other speech therapists. I'm like, they're just so fun. I love them. I fell in love with them because my son had a speech therapist and she came over and I'm like, God, I love you. And I always laughed because she had a Brooklyn accent. And I'm like, this is so funny. I have a girl with a Brooklyn accent
Yeah.
teaching my son how to talk. So she'd be like, up, 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 down. And like the things she would say, I'm like, my son's going to have a Brooklyn accent. I'm totally cool with it though. Totally cool
Oh
with
my
it.
gosh, that's really cute.
It was great. But okay, awesome. So tell me how you felt. Okay, so
Yeah.
before you started this, obviously you shared a little bit of your story. Tell me how you were feeling before you started this. How were you feeling? And then you started the process and now how do you feel? Compare the two.
Right. I was so drained. So incredibly drained. Um, I mean, run down, burned out. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, I have told Alex, like physically, my body, I was shocked. I mean, once again, my body was already not in great shape before, everything started in March. But I was really, really shocked in 3 months of no activity. Because once again, walking on the floors of the hospital, surprisingly, was not what I thought it was. I was like, well, I'm moving. Other people aren't moving at all. I'm moving. Um, 3 months of not moving, I was shocked at what was happening to my body. I remember laying on the couch and like having to like stand up and walk around because like my feet kept falling asleep. And I was like, what am I doing with circulation issues at 34 years old? Like, where did that come from? And just out of nowhere, or seemingly out of nowhere, my hips were getting so tight. All of a sudden I was having trouble kneeling on the floor. And like, that's just not something that I'd ever experienced before. Mentally, emotionally, I was just drained. I would wake up 15 minutes before I need to leave for work, because I didn't shower before work anymore because I had to take my COVID shower after work, you know. And I would just like roll out of bed and just go to work, and just go in full speed. I would get there, I'd be mentally, and then come home and just drop. I was just drained. And I look at pictures of the few pictures that were taken, and it's just like lines. You know, I'm really fair skinned. So when I get lines under my eyes, they're purple. And so you can see them. And it's just, I've had people comment actually at work who have noticed the weight loss and noticed the change. And they've said they've noticed a difference in me, you know, that I just seem happier.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And so, yeah. And so, I guess the other question was like, what's the change that I've noticed? I've noticed that, you know, the stress is still there. The stress has not gone away. There's still so much going on. I mean, we know things have happened this week. There's so much. The stress is still there, but like, I have something that's mine now, something that I can claim for me. And like, that's become like, you know, Alex has been like challenging us to like think about our why. And I'm still piecing it together, but I know it is something to do with like, this is mine, this is for me, and I'm going to take what's mine, right? And like, this has become this bubble during this time, during COVID, where like, I don't allow anything to enter this bubble. This is mine no matter what. You know, it's like arrows can be shot at it, you know, like there could be explosions coming at it. And it's like, I'm still going to, you know, make the choices that I know are going to help me be my best. Right. And I feel more in control of the things that I can't control.
I love that. It's
So,
amazing. And coming from someone who's in the healthcare field,
right.
and I can't imagine the amount of stress that, especially, I mean, just the entire time. You're
Yeah.
just always like being thrown arrows throughout this whole time, and having that piece of something that is yours, but it's
Yeah.
not just like, it's not just that time frame. What you're
Yeah.
doing in that time frame is affecting everything else. So I
Yeah.
love that you said people are noticing
Yeah.
at work. Are they noticing an energy difference?
Yes. Which I was surprised by. Like, my assistant director made a comment about it. Like, she was like, I hope this isn't out of line. She said, she's like, I hope this isn't inappropriate, but I've really noticed a change in you. You know, it's because there was this challenge at work called the Biggest Loser Challenge that we had in our department. And I was like, well, I'm doing this. And we all put like $5 into the pot. And I decided to do it because I was like, I don't have to do anything different. I'm already doing Beachbody. I might as well see if I can win.
You're like,
And,
added bonus.
and so guess what? I won.
Yeah. I love it.
And so all of a sudden people are like, what are you doing?
See that? We don't guarantee results, but man, if you're at work and you have a Biggest Loser challenge, you might want to be joining us.
Which I thought was really funny because I didn't have to change anything I was doing before that challenge started. I just kept
Awesome.
going.
I love it. And those challenges are notorious for people losing weight and then gaining it all right back afterwards. And you didn't have to change anything you were doing, and B, you're continuing this on for a lifestyle. So
Yeah.
win, win, win all around. How much money did you win?
$100.
Yeah. I love it. It's so awesome. So great. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing. Like, I love
Oh my
your
gosh, it was such
heart.
a pleasure.
I love listening to you. And I love that you're part of the team and that you're inviting people to fit parties. And we can talk more about that later, because I'm very interested in hearing more of your story in that way. And so super exciting. I think everybody loves hearing your story. I'm hearing, like, trying to read what other people. We
Yeah,
asked
beautiful.
everybody else about self-care, and yes, selfish. Yep. Felt selfish. Needed to fight back and make myself, a priority. I always felt like self-care was something people without kids got to do. That's interesting, Michelle. Very interesting. I think I agreed with you on that one. I used to think the same thing. Mm-hmm. Yes, I wasn't being a good mom if I had, yep, if I took.
Oh yeah, Alex said, oh yeah, and I did MBF and MBFA.
Nice.
Alex
I'm
wanted
so
to,
proud of
yeah.
you. So this was awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And lastly, for
Mm-hmm.
anybody who cares, Melanie shared, and thank you, Melanie, because this was killing me. Out of Control was the show. It was a sketch show for kids. And I'm telling you, there was a girl with long nails, and she'd go, I used to like do that as a little kid anyway. So I am pretty sure he also said cut it out on that show. Anyway, so look it up, Google it, have fun, and I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys at 9 a.m. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you sharing. Bye, guys. Have a great morning.
Bye.